New era.
It's time for First Stop News.
The microphone has turned 100 years old.
And there's a new Rubik's Cube record holder. It's not me.
And federal funding for public broadcasting was pulled way back. We'll tell you all about what that means, but first, some other headlines. It was an all-star weekend for the WNBA. 22 of the top players from the league gathered in Indianapolis for the matchup between Team Clark and Team Collier. But during warm-ups, each player wore t-shirts with a message: "Pay us what you owe us." The WNBA is currently in negotiations with the Players Union for more money. Their current contract is set to expire at the end of this year, and the league has signed a $2.2 million media deal for the 2026 season. Female players can currently make about 40 times less than their male counterparts.
We should be paid more, and hopefully that's the case moving forward as the league continues to grow. I think that's something that's probably the most important thing that we're in the room advocating about.
A black bear was killed by National Park Rangers at Yellowstone National Park. The female bear had become food conditioned, which means a bear begins to associate people, homes, cars, and public spaces with food, and it loses its fear of humans. It's uncommon, but officials said there were multiple incidents with this one in Yellowstone National Park, and she began to pose a threat for visitors. Both black bears, grizzly bears, and other animals live throughout the park. By the way, a park ranger told us what to do if you ever come across a bear, so make sure you take a look at that. While Superman may still be dominating the box office, it's the puppies that are the real winners. According to a dog-focused app, interest in dog adoption skyrocketed 513% after the PG-13 movie's opening weekend. Superman dog Crypto is totally CGI, but it's based on the director James Gunn's own terrier mixed rescue, Ozu.
Every time he sees himself come on screen, he tries to murder himself.
So, do you have a dog? And if you do, let us know what kind you have in the comments.
What's faster than the blink of an eye and lives in a glass box? This robot solving a Rubik's Cube. A team of students just broke the Guinness World Record for fastest robot to solve a puzzle cube, and they did it in 0.103 seconds. That's about 100 milliseconds, and for the average person, it takes 200 to 300 milliseconds to blink. So if you close your eyes, you just might miss it. The current world record for the fastest human to solve a Rubik's Cube is a little over 3 seconds, and my personal record is... Let's come back to that. This is the team of college students that broke the record. They call their invention the Purdubik's Cube because they're a group of students from Purdue University's School of Electrical and Computer Engineering. It was part of a student design competition. Their robot uses machine vision for color recognition and a custom algorithm to help it solve the cube so quickly. And if you want to see someone who can solve one of these blindfolded, click here. It's full of candy.
Olivia Rodrigo, Justin Bieber, Michael Jackson, those are some of my favorite pop stars. Honorable mention to Ariana Grande and Whitney Houston. And in many ways, we wouldn't have their sounds without an invention from 100 years ago. And that invention was the microphone. Bring it down. It changed the way we recorded music forever. On February 25th, 1925, someone known as the Whispering Pianist recorded a song on a microphone. That's Art Gillum's song. It became the first commercially released electrical recording.
Papa tells the customers.
Before that day, artists had to scream into a phonograph that Thomas Edison created. It was a cone-shaped horn, and I love a fun fact, so let's pause for one. Does the phonograph remind you of another item? Yes, a Grammy. The sound waves from singers and instruments would physically move a needle that carved into a wax disc. It was a tough recording process to get soft sounds. Singers had to get extremely close to the phonograph. If they sang a loud note, the singer would have to back up quickly to prevent damage to the needle. Also, the manual recording process meant every song was the same exact volume. In 1925, when Gillum stepped into Columbia Records to record with the microphone, the volume of his voice didn't matter because the microphone converts sound into small electrical currents. The microphone could pick up someone's dynamic range, whether you were soft or loud, and people started to hear and notice. At the time, popular music and the microphone had a lot to do with each other. In the 1920s, record labels hated the radio because they thought it was just giving away music for free. However, the artists who were the most skilled on the mic were played more on the radio, so people heard and bought their songs more. To this day, the way certain stars use the microphone gives them that distinct sound, like how Billie Eilish whispers super close to the microphone. The mic changed who got to be heard, opened doors to new voices, sounds, and a new kind of star. So if you want more stories on innovations in the music world, let us know in the comments.
Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, Arthur, Sesame Street. These shows have been made with money from PBS, the Public Broadcasting Service. PBS is a nonprofit that serves about 350 member stations, all local TV. The content, educational, informative, and entertaining. NPR, or National Public Radio, is the same idea, but for local radio stations. And both are supported by a combination of viewer donations, grants, and government funding. That government funding runs through the CPB, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Congress established it in the 1960s. So Congress doesn't give money directly to PBS and NPR, it gives it to CPB. President Lyndon Johnson signed the Public Broadcasting Act into law in 1967, and now more than $500 million annually in federal funding goes to CPB. But that's about to change because Congress recently voted to end support for the CPB. Although NPR and PBS only use a small amount of this federal funding, local TV and radio stations need money from the government to operate. It's how they pay for shows and community news coverage. So Kelsey, what's in this new proposal with these cuts?
Yes, Will, thank you for asking me. It's called a rescission, and it comes from President Trump. It's cutting back money that was already in Congress's budget, nearly $1.1 billion in funding for public media over the next 2 years. Some of your favorite shows from growing up won't go away ASAP, but the people who make these shows will eventually have fewer dollars to spend, and it could get tough going forward to make the programs. And it may be more difficult for local stations to tell the public about important news in their area. So how did this all happen?
On this vote, the yeas are 216. The nays are 213. The resolution is adopted.
The final vote happened in the House mostly along party lines, meaning all Democrats voted no and all Republicans voted yes, except for 2. Republicans have been trying to stop funding public media for decades, some arguing it has political bias. Democrats say public media is essential for people to know about what's going on around them, especially if they don't have access to cable or streaming services. Also, part of this package was cuts to a lot of money for foreign assistance programs that would have been helping out with drought, disease, and unrest across the globe. Now, President Trump will sign this bill into law. And I just feel like this is really sad because I used to love Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Yeah, and I really love Sesame Street, and one time I got to meet Oscar the Grouch, which was so cool.
I was just thinking of the meme, the author meme.
Yeah.
Okay, but not that.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens, but until then, it's time for
another moment of mayhem.
So be sure to thumbs up and subscribe.
And comment so we know what you think.
We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Saving you! Saving you! Let me save you!